this to Mark Gilbert as well,
Oh,
in
okay.
case there's any questions today.
Great, good. So we have 1, 2,
Eight.
3, 5, 6, 7, 8. One was planted. Wait, no, 8 $500 ones,
Yeah.
one $100 one.
Yeah.
So that $100 one, we're waiting for
Other donations.
other donations.
Yeah.
So we have 8 $500 ones, which one has been planted and one is going to be planted at Junior. So we have
Victor,
6
who is that?
outstanding.
Oh, well then he'll switch it out when
Oh,
he's,
okay.
I think.
All
when
right.
he's ready.
We're gonna plant them all.
I know.
Andy's Ottawa Street.
Hello,
Hey.
Victor?
Take a-
Hey, Mark, can you hear us?
Yeah, couple quick questions before people come in. First of all, those trees look great that are being planted. Yes. And
We do too.
Mr. Meridian has also planted his 3 trees down on Glen Drive,
Oh, okay, I did. All right, yep, that's right.
and they look very nice as well. So I was just looking at the minutes of the last meeting. I hope I didn't interrupt anything here. Did we actually
No.
pass an official tree list for the city?
Did we actually pass that official tree list?
Right. I'm trying to see here. I'm
Oh,
looking.
did we vote on it?
Yes.
Andy, do you remember?
There is a lot of ambiguity there. I didn't know what was, if it's not on there, then it wasn't passed. Let's see.
I think maybe we were,
There was discussion if there one existed, and then Mrs. Mulder said that she had presented one. And then I said, hey, can you forward that to Victor? And I said, sure, but if I did that or not, I probably didn't.
and I haven't received the complete list, I don't think, from
Okay.
the combined list.
Yeah,
Good. All right. We'll put that on an agenda for the next meeting or so.
Yeah, okay, yeah, we'll get that complete list from Dana and the tree plan. So that should be on the list for December 21st or 20,
Okay.
whatever it was, yeah, December 18th.
Okay. Yeah. I appreciate that. So.
No problem.
thanks for reminding us, Mark.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't at the meeting, so I was trying to figure out what went on. My jury duty was.
And Mark,
wonderful.
so something for this meeting, because we're doing it remotely, state law requires that the chair has everyone, while they do their roll call, while we do roll call, that everyone states that they are participating remotely and their location. So you can say from your home, from whatever,
Got it.
but that's per state law. So I'll remind everyone at the start of the meeting.
Okay.
But just in case, that's just part of state law. So we have to say whether we're participating remotely through Zoom or through whatever, and that we are participating from our home or from wherever.
Got it. Okay.
They just want-
Yep, and we'll put it in the minutes, yep. And on the agenda, I have to do this for next time, Andy, but for the agenda, I have to edit to say, we have to put the reason why we're having remote meetings.
Oh,
So I have the process, but I have to just say because of COVID.
yeah,
That's
I
all.
know the rules for staying where you're at doesn't start till I think December 1.
No, it starts now.
Oh, does it right now?
Yeah, it starts now, yep. It's those rules, there's a few different rules.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead and explain it, because they'll change tomorrow, or an hour.
They probably will.
Yeah,
Nancy, Dana, and Mark, so we got a quorum.
Hi, Dana's here.
Hi,
Hi.
Dana.
Hi.
Hi, Nancy. So who are we? Mark, Dana, Nancy, Sue,
Sue.
our student.
and our student rep, Brianna Goldsmith. I always forget the fifth. John Cups.
John.
So how do I?
You need to.
Does
do-
John,
Can you
Victor,
Wants
does
to
John
come in?
use the computer? I don't think he does he?
call him first? You can get call him first, yeah.
Share
usually ask
screen.
you- Oh, start video,
About
but
that
don't.
all the time.
No?
I'm gonna get out of the picture. Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
Hi, Dana.
If not, you can go get it.
Hi,
Where'd you go? You were there?
I'm trying to let's see, you can see me now?
Not now.
Too.
Click,
Yeah,
I
you
have
can
some
call him.
technical assistance going on in the background here.
Click on your video camera. Is there a line through the video camera?
There is.
Then click on it.
Here. Hang on.
Yeah, click on the camera.
Okay, start video down that lower.
Yep. There you go. There you go.
Okay.
There you are.
Then there's a way
Yeah,
to see
I
everybody.
can see you.
I'd like to see everybody. Bill's helping me here for a minute.
You need to bring your screen down. I can see too much of your ceiling.
Gotcha.
There you
Oh, I
go.
see myself. I see Nancy.
There you go.
I don't see Victor, John, or Mark.
Victor's is the agenda. He's.
Okay,
he's
gotcha.
gonna show you, yeah.
And Mark is not on Zoom.
You know,
I am, and I'm trying to figure out how to turn my camera on.
Look
If
at
you
the
look
bottom.
down in the lower left, Mark, is where I found it.
It's a picture of a video camera, and if there's a line through it, you need to click on it.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, and that's all, there, you're coming. And then that's also how you mute yourself. If you're not talking, there's a microphone next to it that you can put a line through if you're not talking and you don't want people to hear what's going on in your house. Mark, your screen is blank, though.
Okay, let me try again.
Maybe he doesn't want anyone to see him.
I was gonna say maybe.
He's still in his pajamas.
Right.
Probably for your benefit. Yeah, let me try something. Here. Okay, meeting has been launched. Okay.
This is our first Zoom meeting. Hi, Sue.
There's Sue.
Hi, Dana and Nancy.
I see. I saw you running past my house.
We are calling John Cup Senior just to make sure that he can attend because he doesn't usually do email or internet stuff. So we're gonna call him to see if he's gonna call in or what's gonna happen here.
Okay, help me again where I'm supposed to find my.
Well, your video's on, but for some reason we can't see you. There's
Oh.
John Leo's on.
You need
He doesn't have-
click on start video, Mark, in that little box with the three dots.
You
Cursor
did that in
around.
and the black screen came up.
Yeah, and it says I have here stop video. I don't have a start video one.
Well, try
Do you have
stopping
a camera on your
and starting
laptop?
again.
Pardon?
Do you have a camera on your laptop?
I'm just-
Yes.
Do you have something over the camera? Sometimes we tape a piece of tape over it just so we don't feel like they're spying on us. They, the internet.
What if you go into settings and see if your camera's turned actually on?
Okay, I'm a neophyte here, so.
Because you're on the video. You're just, we're seeing a blank screen.
Okay.
February.
Whoops.
Is that the lovely elevator music on the phone?
Yeah, we're waiting to see if John Cups joins by phone.
Hello, John Leo.
Hello, good afternoon.
How are you
Hey,
today?
John.
So far, so good.
Good, good.
Fun to see everybody's rooms. John, of course, has a really serious library behind him.
Of course.
Oh, boy.
I just turned off the light in the kitchen so you can't see the dirty dishes.
I'm not having any luck here.
Yeah, I wonder. Well, we can hear you well, Mark Gilbert, whoever
Let's
you
try
are. We
this.
can hear you.
Can you see the agenda, Mark?
Yeah. I sure can.
Okay, so maybe it's not that important if we don't see you.
Something with his camera, I think.
No,
So you didn't put a piece of tape over your camera at any point?
no.
Okay.
Is this little green dot I can see looking at me at the top of my Mac? Is
I'm
that
sorry,
my
what?
camera? Is that where it must be? I don't even know where the camera is on this one.
It's usually the top of your, yeah.
Top of my screen.
Mhm.
See.
And it lights up when it's in use.
Yeah,
Your thumb just covered it, yeah.
I
There
did.
there you go.
Yep, there it is. So there's something covering Mark's camera or it's not on, one of the two.
Yeah, no worries. We'll just wait a couple more minutes. We're gonna see about John Cups. Just
Say hi to
hold on a
Bill
couple,
Mulder,
Mark.
he's in the background.
Thanks.
Hello, Bill Mulder.
I was gonna show you how to widen up that.
John said he will call in.
Oh, good, good.
Mark, I just sent you a message by chat. Did you see that?
Check.
As long as you're in the process of learning Zoom, you can figure out the chat.
Yeah, that's right.
I gotta figure out chat now, huh?
Uh-huh.
Go to the bottom of your screen.
Okay, hang on. I'm in my settings right now.
Oh, okay.
Uh, FaceTime built-in camera, got it. My video.
Is, Brianna Goldsmith, who's that?
She is our student representative.
Oh, she's on. She's on.
Hi, Brianna.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, Sue, where's chat?
There's a little thing that looks like a dialogue window, like a cartoon bubble.
Cut logs.
So if
you
you
won't be here?
hover, you have to hover your cursor over the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, you may have to, it depends on your screen, but
So John Cup said he will not be joining us. He's cutting logs right now. So kind of what tree board people do. Um, So I'll turn this off then.
Okay, yeah, he's not calling in.
Thank you.
All right, Mark, whenever you're ready to start.
Well, yeah, I could be here all afternoon, so you'll just see a blank screen for me. So, but Nancy, I don't think I've met you. I'm
No,
Mark.
I haven't. I was looking forward to seeing you, but hi.
So welcome.
Thank
And Brianna, I didn't meet you at last meeting either, so it's nice to have you here.
Thank you.
So, okay, I think we're ready for roll call.
Yes, all right. And I will do roll call, but I just want to ask all attendees per state statute, we have to declare that we're attending electronically and where we're attending the meeting from. So if you're attending it from home, just say I'm attending by Zoom via home, and we'll reflect that in the minutes. That's a new state law that was passed. So we'll do roll call.
The city would work.
Yeah, the city, yeah, your city location's fine. You don't have to get specific in my bedroom or anything like that. So we'll do roll call. Sue Stewart,
How do I get everybody?
attending from home.
You might not get everybody. See
Anna
this-
Mulder,
Attending from home?
Brianna Goldsmith,
Attending from home.
That's everybody.
Nancy Rondell,
From home, Harbor Springs.
and Mark Gilbert.
Attending from home.
Thank you. So we do have a quorum. John Cups is absent. We also have a member in attendance, John Leo. So that is the roll call. I want to welcome Nancy, who was appointed by council. Well, she is on council, but as a council rep for the tree board. So I know Mark already did, but welcome, Nancy. This is one of the best boards, so
Thank
I'm
you.
not biased. All right, Mark, if you want to take it away.
Sure. First on our agenda is the approval of minutes for October 16.
I just had a couple items. There wasn't anything about Arbor Day, and I don't know if it needs to be in there or not, but we had discussed trying to work on something, and kind of a casual committee of myself and Denny and Brianna.
Oh, the committee that was formed for Arbor Day, potentially?
Yeah. Yep, and I think we were going to meet in January. So I just don't know how important it is to reflect that in the minutes, or we just talk about it again in January.
I think it'd be good if we had that in the minutes, just to say that they discussed creating a committee for Arbor Day.
Okay. And then I guess we can talk about this in January, but I was reading over the information again, and it does look like we need to have a budget with $2 per capita in it. And need to figure out if that's something that needs to come from council while council is, I guess that wouldn't be a capital item though, would it? No. I know budget discussions are coming up. And I did get a little look at the budget, the 5-year budget, and there isn't anything in there for trees or tree boards. So are we thinking that comes out of operating?
Dana, we're focused on the minutes first here, and then we can
Okay,
go
I'm
into
sorry.
other-
Yep, okay. So there was that. Let's see. That's it, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, we'll put that addition in minutes. A committee has been formed and we'll be meeting in January.
Okay.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve those corrected minutes?
Motion so made.
Second?
Susan, it looks like you seconded, but you were muted.
Second, sorry, I was trying to use the space bar to unmute and sometimes it doesn't work.
Okay,
That's okay, no worries.
all
We
right.
got a,
We've had a
motion by
motion and approved, motion and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
we'll have to do a roll call for this one. Sorry, this is
Okay.
say laws about. We'll have to do a roll call.
Perfect, perfect.
Dana Mulder,
Yes. Yes.
Sue Stewart,
Yes,
Mark Gilbert,
Yes,
and Nancy Randall.
Yes.
Motion passes.
okay, any board communications? I'd just like to make a comment. I hope that people have seen the trees going in on Main Street and also the trees that Mr. Meridian requested to plant on Glen Drive are now in the ground. So it's nice to see a large number of trees going in. So
Yes, and we did put some pictures on Instagram of the trees going in. So for those who do have social media, we'll also put them on other avenues as well. But we would just put them on Instagram while they were digging the holes and putting them in there. So let Mr. Fennick know that the trees that they donated are going in. And so far, we'll see how they come up in the spring.
yeah, pretty exciting. Do we have any public comment from people who are electronically on the meeting and not on the any item on the agenda?
Just related to the trees being planted, what was the outcome of the bones that were found? I'm assuming it was resolved because things are moving forward.
So John, the bones that were found, we gave it over to a forensic expert and the tribe. So they're still figuring out what to do with them and if they really are Native American bones or what. But so it's in the process of still being resolved.
But it didn't slow down the planting of the trees?
Nope, nope. The member of the tribe, the person that oversees it, said they just were thankful that we contacted them as soon as possible, and
Right.
it's likely. So the bones that we found. So I did send out an email to council on Wednesday. That so tree board members, you may not know this. I did send out an email to council saying that we did find a couple bones while the Timberwolf was planting the trees because they were hand digging them. They weren't using an excavator. Because there's too many utilities in the way, so they decided to hand dig. And so likely the bones that they found were not an actual like burial. They were just probably from the last time there was work done at this project site. The excavator probably just shifted them around, and then the bones are like really close to the surface of the. So they probably when they put the dirt back in, the bones were there. So it wasn't like a whole skeleton. It was a femur bone and a few femur bones. And a vertebrae bone, so it wasn't a whole body or anything like that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right.
You're welcome.
Okay, I see we have no old business. So our first item on new business is the tree removal.
I'm sorry, could I just interrupt for a moment? Just a couple of things that seem to be lingering a little bit. Did we decide to adopt that Trees for Success going forward, or are we still discussing that?
Well, I was not at the last meeting, but I understand that I think you were going to put a combined list together.
That's what that list is.
and
Oh, yeah.
wasn't that going to become part of the tree plan that Victor's working on piece by piece?
Yeah, I think the issue was maybe not everybody had had a chance to look at it. So I don't know if we should just go ahead and adopt it for now and make changes if there are changes down the road, rather than just leaving it in limbo.
Did I get a final email with the final list?
Yep. I think I think we brought it up at the last meeting, Ethan. Sue said she used it, to look at trees for her project.
Yeah, so we had a little bit of discussion about it at the last meeting, and I'm not real crisp on what we decided, but I thought that the idea was that it would become part of the document that Victor's working on.
The tree plan. Yeah.
Okay, if everybody's in concurrence, we can always make changes to it. It just might be nice to have some resolution rather than having it dangle from meeting to meeting.
Well, it sounds like there is a resolution as soon as the tree plan gets completed, that will be part of it, and it'll then be approved by the board. And the
Okay,
city.
so no changes at this time.
Okay.
Another thing that I'm not sure we resolved was in discussing the tree inventory that Ben did. Was he going to look into, is he on the call today or no?
He's not available today, no.
Okay. We had discussed, whether we need to just do some sampling of all the trees in the city, so we're not just making decisions about diversity based only on the street trees. And then Sue had asked, I think, about, if we can just include the new trees as they go in. So I guess, shall we just defer that since he's not here?
Well, yeah, and I also think we're not ready for the next aspect of following up with the inventory. So I think when it comes to that stage, when we look into the inventory, I think really what Sue was talking about was when we do this inventory that we are going to, correct me if I'm wrong, Sue, but that's just was an idea given out. We're not planning on doing anything with the inventory right now.
Yeah, I think that's right. And not because it isn't useful, but because undertaking it is time and labor intensive, and we felt like it would be better to start that project when we have the resources to do it, something like that.
Yep.
Okay.
And then, pardon? Just one more item under old business. We had discussed that it would be good to have both budget and goals for 2021. Is that something we should just start discussing today, or should we start discussing it at our December meeting or January?
That was planned for a December meeting,
Okay.
since it's our last meeting. Yep.
Okay. Anything other, Dana?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. So our first item of new business is the tree removal request for 565 East Main Street, requested by Ann and Patrick O'Brien. I think hopefully everybody has read the communication we got, and also the letter that we received from a neighbor. Any discussion or thoughts?
Nancy and I had a discussion last night. Do you want to take it away, Nancy? We were saying that maybe we need to just have some general criteria for when
Yeah.
requests.
Anna, I think you broke out there.
I did read through all of this, and I actually walked down and looked at both of these trees yesterday. And my concern with reading this and trying to make a decision is I don't know what kind of criteria you guys have been using, or if you've been using any, to make these kind of decisions. Because they seem, it's sort of random otherwise. I guess I, as a new person, just kind of walking in cold and not a real tree person, I need some kind of criteria of what you're using to decide when city trees can come down or not, or if the city pays for it, or if the homeowner pays for it. And so to work with none of that, it's really difficult for me.
Well, I see in the communication that we got that city staff, the DPW director, city manager, and the arborist did go down and examine the tree.
Right.
And I
Right.
think, we do have an arborist, and I think
Right.
that I think that his opinion probably, I feel, should be the one that carries the main weight.
But what is he basing that opinion on? I guess is what I need to know. Is
So
it,
Nancy,
go ahead.
Ben is looking at the tree. Ben is looking at the tree
Okay.
based on the reason that the applicant wants the removal. So the applicant
Right.
claimed in their application that the tree was diseased.
Right.
Ben went and said that was not mold, it was just moss. And so he saw no evidence of any disease that could be harmful to the tree. So the
Okay.
applicant's reason for applying for the tree removal was because it was diseased. Ben is saying it's not diseased. They did notice some lifting of some cement and some large branches that could be trimmed. And the
Okay.
second part of your question that you asked was who pays for it? Well, we have a process here where you can apply for tree removal or trimming on any vegetation on city property, but the cost is on the person applying. So if the city approves it, so there's an application that we have. In that application, it says if the city approves it, then they are required to contract with someone and get that contractor approved by the city to remove that tree.
Okay.
The city also can make requirements, as I say in that application, that a condition where we require them to plant a tree somewhere else in place of a tree that they remove.
And what-
So we
Sorry.
come to the tree board. We come to the tree board for this because obviously we do have an arborist, but we want to get the tree board's advice on, all right, we took all this into consideration. Here's the expert's view. Now here's what the tree board also advises as well. And that way, then we as city staff, as a city manager, I can make that final decision.
So Victor, what if Ann and Patrick, I understand they said it was diseased and Ben says it isn't. So I get that. But what if they just say, we want this tree to come down? We don't want this tree. We're tired of raking the leaves, whatever. How is the decision made of, yes, it can come down, whether they pay for it or not, even if they're willing to pay for it? How do we make the decision whether that's okay to take that down? When they apply, what if they just say, I don't like this tree in my
Well, then
front view?
the decision could be as easily as a tree board saying, well, we think the tree needs to be there for these reasons, for shade, for the benefit that it provides. So the tree board will look, if someone applies with no reason, I think it's very hard to convince staff to say, we should remove public property because for no legitimate reason. There is no set standards of criteria, but we do have it in the application, certain criteria for applying for it and the review process that we go through.
I guess I
don't think
need to look at
there hasn't
that.
been ever a stringent process, a checklist of each criteria that we follow. I think that would be personally, I think that would be a little too nuanced because each tree application comes on an individual basis. As you'll see in the next request, it's because they're building a driveway, and they need to remove the tree for a curb cut. So I think each one has its own, anyway.
I have a question too, Victor. So maybe there's two conditions. One condition being the tree's unhealthy or it poses a safety risk. Then does the city pay for it? So maybe that's one condition. And then the other is like what we're talking about right now, where it's subjective. Maybe they want it out for aesthetics, a new driveway, owner preference, whatever. Then they would pay for it.
Our vegetation management policy says that if there's a tree that we deem to be hazardous to property or human life that could cause injury or death or anything like that, we will remove that tree. Our staff went out there and said there's no potential at this point imminent threat to any structure or person. As you know, with trees, a limb can blow off any time on any tree and hit someone or something. But at this point, our vegetation management policy, if someone's claiming that it could be harmful, we go and investigate that. And if we determine that it's not harmful, then the applicant can still request to have that tree removed. And then that's why it comes to the tree board to have a discussion that we're having.
Okay.
Nancy, another way to answer it would be to say that there are implicit criteria for removing trees, but not explicit. And the reason that they're not explicit, to Victor's point, is because by the time it gets to us, there are so many different reasons, and those reasons are somewhat subjective, that I think it would be more awkward to have a set of criteria unless there was a big other category. But But a lot of times what happens is people want the tree removed and the tree board more or less says the trees are there for a reason. The public benefit is greater than what your benefit is. And so for that reason, we don't generally favor the removal of trees. But it isn't a crisp process right now.
I certainly understand that. I do think we have to be careful that in this kind of situation where you've got somebody who wants it gone, a neighbor who doesn't want it gone, that we don't get into some favoritism and some real subjectivity, because we've had issues with trees at this end of our town too. And, you know, I just think we need to be really cautious of that when we leave a lot of room, a lot of subjectivity. If there's a tree plan that, you know, we're going to have trees all the way down Main Street on both sides, whatever, and someone says, well, I don't want a tree in front of my house, and you can say, but the city's tree plan says there are trees, and so we're going to have this tree unless it's harmful, and then we're going to take it down and replace it. But when we don't have a plan to just randomly look at these different choices, makes it tough for me.
This speaks to what we discussed at previous meetings, where it would be nice to have a street tree
Can you give
plan
me
at some
another
point.
puck?
Well, you know, I look at any tree within city property is actually belong to the community, not to the person who lives behind it or in front of it. And, you know, our whole emphasis has been increasing canopy for environmental reasons, for property value reasons, for, well, all the wonderful reasons why we want trees. And, you know, unless a tree is diseased, I personally have a very difficult time even considering honoring somebody's request to bring it down.
So I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm just trying to make myself comfortable voting on these things. So these folks have tree, and I like trees. We need 3 trees in front of our house, actually. I was talking to my husband about it last night. But we do expect people to maintain that green swath with the trees or without the trees. It is the homeowner's responsibility to mow that and take care of it. Correct? Am I correct? Am I correct on that? We are obligated as homeowners to take care of that property, even though it isn't our property. Is that right, Victor?
Can you restate that question? Because my
Sure.
sound went out.
That's okay. You know, the green space that is the city's, where this tree, Patrick and Ann's tree is the city's property, but the homeowner is expected to take care of that property, correct? We have to cut it. We have to take care of it. Is that right? So they have some.
Not quite correct. So you don't have to take care of it, and then when our DPW gets to it, it'll get to it. So neighbors take care of that property because they want their grass to not look wild and unkempt. I mean, some people wait for the DPW that are in the more rural areas of I would say rural areas, but more outer limits of the city for the DPW to come and do stuff. But so no, there's no requirement that, as far as I know, in there that, yeah.
I didn't know that. I actually thought homeowners were responsible to cut that area of the lawn. So that's fine.
They may be responsible. I'll have to double check that out, but I think that's off the basis of what our charter says and our code says. Our code says that is city property, and that tree is city property paid for by community city funds, and that tree will be managed according to city staff and as we see fit.
Okay.
I have a question about their request. So I guess one thing they did learn is, no, it is a healthy tree after all. And is that really the reason they want it out? And would they be happy and who should trim it? Would it be the city or would it be their person?
So Dana, these requests would all be, if the applicant is applying for it, they are required to trim it unless we see some kind of hazard. And there is, at this point, I might bring up that there is a comment from the homeowner on YouTube, and they have a question, and I'll read it out. I am the property owner of 565 East Main Street, Ann O'Brien, and I would like to ask questions. Question 1, how many people were sent a letter concerning our request and the reason for owners 2 doors down from our property and across the street that is not directly from us? And Andy, if I'm correct, we believe we send it out in a radius like we normally do.
15 of them.
Yeah, we,
15 letters went out, all the way down the street, across the street, basic property owners and down.
yep. So we sent out 15 letters. And that's because, you know, it's a community tree. So we want community feedback on how removing that tree will impact the neighbors.
I'm actually getting messages on my phone from Ann. She said I have a message, I have a question, but not able to send in for some reason. I don't know. I guess, Ann, obviously you're watching. Try putting it on chat so that everybody can see what you're saying to me, because it's not okay to just send it to me.
Is she on YouTube or Zoom?
The comment I got from her was on YouTube.
Okay, I wonder if she can get, because the other thing is, my question 3 is we have a new tree that is healthy next to this older tree that is not growing properly. So, I mean, I would prefer she do it to the city rather than to me. I don't want to get in between that. So, Ann, if you can get on Zoom, you can get into the chat feature. Let's see.
Or on telephone.
I think I know what Ann's talking about. Is it does seem like there were a lot of trees planted in front of her house that are close together. So I don't know how that would factor into the request or not.
I would just say her question number 3 there is that, again, Ben went there and said, you know, he doesn't see anything intrinsically wrong with the tree it is. I mean, in Ben's views, all trees are going to die eventually. And this one, he didn't see any kind of urgent kind of a problem with it. So.
I did visit the site and noticed those smaller trees, but in some ways, I think that's an asset in that when that tree eventually dies, you're going to have a pretty good sized tree right there to take its place.
And it does look like the trimming on that one has been left to drift for a while here, and it would be good to get it trimmed nicely. It certainly would be worth doing to have them look at it again and see if that doesn't make it more acceptable from their perspective.
To trim it, you mean, Sue? To
Yes,
trim it up?
it. Mhm.
Here's another thing that I observed when I went down there to look at it is as you come from their house back towards downtown, there's a bunch of big old Norway maples along that right side there. And some of them are like crazy leaning over the road kind of thing. So I don't know if that's something down the road that we might want to discuss as a tree board, like, sorry. You know, having Ben maybe take a quick look and see, do we need to trim some of these trees? Or are there some that legitimately need to come out there leaning way over the road? Different
Well, I do
topic
know-
though. Let's get back to Ann and Patrick.
Dana, DPW and our electric department are always going down that road looking to see when trees could potentially pose a hazard. So we could do that as a tree board eventually. But as far as if things are going to interfere with the roads or utilities, our
guys
DPW
do it.
electric.
Got it.
We have been the tree board's been asked then to decide or make a recommendation. We've discussed this. Is any other comments either from the property owner or from any of us before someone makes a motion?
Did we address Ann's question? She said she's on YouTube, but she can't get to her questions to come in. I don't know. Did we address her question? We have a new tree that is healthy next to this older tree that is not growing properly. So I don't know quite what the question is. I just want to make sure we don't ignore what she's asking.
I think Mark was saying it'll be a benefit when that bigger tree does die because this one will have had a chance to become good sized.
Okay.
And that's also something where when they come out to trim, especially if Ben can be there to talk with them as well, that might help.
That might
with,
help.
Yeah, understanding why he as an arborist sees this as a decent tree and a good place that should stay there. Because that is a matter of perspective, and we can't expect everyone to see things the way an arborist sees them. You know, we rely on his advice too. We look at it and we don't see the same things that he does. So,
Well, and he's looking at it from an arborist, a professional, and they're looking at it from a homeowner's perspective. And
Right,
those
right.
can be very different. Yeah, you're right, Sue.
Well, again, we do have to make a recommendation. Someone want to throw one out there?
I recommend we permit some limited trimming that is agreeable to our staff.
I would second that.
Then I guess any further discussion? Okay, let's have a roll call vote.
Okay, Mark Gilbert,
Yes.
Dana Mulder,
Yes.
Nancy Rondell,
Yes.
Sue Stewart,
Yes.
and Brianna.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Motion carries.
We're gonna do number 3 here.
Okay, next we have another tree removal request, this one at 476 East Lake Street. The reason for this being a house is being built. They need to make a cut for a driveway. And again, our choices are to allow the removal of the tree and the other one would be removal and require them to complete a street application to put in another tree.
I have a question. Do we have a site plan that shows the driveway where the tree is?
I drove by there last night and the garage is going to be directly behind that tree.
Okay.
You can see the slab right now where if you see that open spot there behind the sidewalk, the slab for the two-car garage, looks like a two-car garage to me, is directly behind that tree.
I don't see a slab in the picture that Victor has up, but
Well,
So Dan-
this picture was taken before construction began.
oh, okay.
They have the
Dana-
foundation of the house in. They've got the pad for the garage in. So we're well underway right now of building the house.
I'll elaborate on that a little bit. They did not provide a site plan. Lucas did go out there though and had several correspondences with this property owner on several trees that they had asked removed also on Lake Street and on Arbor Street. And this is the one that was directly in line for their curb cut in their driveway.
I walked up there last night or yesterday. There are 2 trees on Lake Street in front of their property, both about the same size. I'm going to play devil's advocate just a little bit. I believe that you have to have 18 feet between curb cuts, and there is a driveway a little bit further on Lake. Their driveway would not have to go where that tree is. It wouldn't be a straight shot in if it wasn't. But again, coming back to why we allow people to move or change trees, where they located their house, put their garage right in front of where that tree is. So I certainly.
Nancy, are you saying that curb cut would be denied if it was where the tree was?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying they would not have to put the curb cut directly in front of their garage and they could avoid having to take that tree out. If they want to have a straight shot in from Lake Street directly straight into their garage, then that tree needs to come out or be moved. But they made the choice to do it that way. They could have moved a little bit over and then they wouldn't have had to take the tree out. So that's just food for thought. Now
It looks like, Nancy, it looks like the homeowner is saying that old driveway is going to come out.
the old driveway, yeah, I would assume it would. But what I'm
Yeah.
saying is where they situated their garage, if they want a straight shot in, then yes, they have to move the tree or take it out. But they made the choice to do it that way. So, I mean, I think if that was a great big huge maple, they might have built a little differently so they wouldn't have lost the tree. Just they do have another option. They wouldn't have to remove that tree. But I'm not saying we shouldn't okay it if we decide.
I would tend to feel that tree isn't that large and that we could let them take it out as long as they planted another one.
I tend to agree with you, Dana. I mean, they're building a house, it's going to go on the tax rolls, which is always good. And again, perhaps a replacement tree of a different species that, again, diversity would be a win-win, I think, maybe for both parties.
Yep.
Would you like a
Okay.
motion?
Yes.
Were there public comments or anything else the homeowner wanted to say? But, okay, I would make a motion that we allow the homeowner to take out the tree as long as a tree from the city's approved tree list is put somewhere in that right of way. Do we
You
need
want
to
it
say
on-
where it is? I guess this brings up more conversation.
Well, I think they'll be filling out a tree application to put the tree in, so we'll be,
We'll get at it at that point, yeah.
if they would like some, perhaps direction ahead of time, they could, again, talk with Lucas to see where utilities are, or perhaps Ben could go up and make a suggestion before they do it.
Okay.
I just would like to ask one more question. I'm sorry to belabor it. So what is the reason? Again, what's our criteria for letting them take the tree out? It's not a health and safety issue. So, why are we saying that it's okay for them to remove the tree?
Because they're going to put one back. I think in general, it's not, we try not to be rigid and say, no, you can't touch that tree, because they are the homeowner and they live right next to it. And here's an obvious reason that you would need that tree taken out. But the problem is that when people take trees out, then the tree canopy for the community is short another tree, and it whittles away at how many trees we have and how much canopy cover. So then the way we justify allowing them to take that tree is by requiring them to put another in its place, not literally in its place, but to add back, so that there's no net loss of tree canopy in the city.
So Sue, and I really
Yeah, no,
don't,
go ahead, it's fine.
but I need to understand. So why did we say no, that Patrick and Ann can't take that tree out and plant a new one? What is our reasoning then between, I understand they said it was diseased, and that doesn't appear to be the case. What if they put another application in just saying, we would like to remove this, we think it's too big for where it is, we'll replace it with another tree? Then
That's
would we be
request altogether. Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
And I could also see this, perhaps this is a safety issue. I think coming in and out of Lake Street, it gets a lot of traffic, having a driveway that you're coming directly out, having good visibility both ways, as opposed to having it at an angle.
Good point.
Could be considered. I think that would be a safer thing than having, I understand, Nancy, exactly what you're saying. But at the same time, I think for the ease of getting in and out and perhaps traffic flow, having it perpendicular to Lake Street would be advantageous.
Yep. And I would just make a final comment, which is that location being as close to the elementary schools, as elementary and middle schools as it is, that's a lot of kids walk that way, or any kids who walk and ride their bikes are likely to be on that sidewalk, which makes it a really nice place to have shade trees. As someone who grew up walking right past there every day for a lot of years, that's a great place to have some shade.
Okay, I think Dana has made a motion. Do we have a second?
Support.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, let's have a roll call vote then.
Nancy Rondell,
Yes.
Dana Mulder,
Yes.
Sue Stewart,
Yes.
Mark Gilbert,
Yes.
and Brianna Goldsmith.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, our third item under new business is the Christmas holiday tree donation program that Lucas has proposed. I think we all have the documentation that came through before the meeting. So I'd open it up to any discussion.
Can I start?
Go ahead.
I just ask, yeah, sorry. Can I start this off by just asking, have we run this past the, how realistic is it to suggest that the city would maintain those trees in such a way that they would eventually be good Christmas trees? Because my understanding of Christmas tree production is that it's very labor intensive, and involves a lot more attention to the trees than you would usually put into city trees, particularly shaping with the cuts that you do. And I don't know how much spraying and what kind of spraying, but I think it's kind of an involved process.
I think a lot of the trees that have gone in the past, though, like there was one that came from the Best Western, and I'm sure they didn't do any of those things to that. It probably got watered with the sprinklers. My bigger concern, but I think that's a good point, Sue. My bigger concern, though, is we don't know, how many years before it's going to get to be big enough to be able to be our Christmas tree downtown. Is it going to be like 20 years? And then how many new pests and diseases are going to come through to where all of this labor intensive work, will throw out everything that's been done? Like look at right now we don't have a big problem up here, but there's this spruce needle cast, and it's downstate. It's just devastating the Colorado blue spruce. And just imagine, I think those actually are blue spruce that were in the picture. And it looked like they had observed some needle cast. If you had put so many years of taking care of this tree into it and then something new came up here, I see it as a way to save, why they think it would be possibly a way to save money, but I think it could also be a way to flush a lot of money if some new disease or pathogen comes along that we don't know about right now.
I think both Dana and Sue, you've made very good points.
I'll say that, so originally Lucas said that 15, 20 years ago, the city intended to do exactly this. And the problem was that no one ever maintained them, never watered them. But we planted those trees there, about 15 to 20 trees at the well house area for the specific purpose. And they were just were never maintained, watered, sprayed, or cared for. And with the problem we have is not really just to save money, but there's a liability issue. For example, one year when we were removing a tree from someone's property, our truck snapped, the line snapped, and our truck flipped over, our electric truck. So having to go to other people's properties to get these trees contracted out, there's a bigger liability issue. So this was just a thought from DPW director and electric department supervisor, say, hey, what if we keep this closer to inside city limits, where we can be in control of planting the trees, taking care of the trees. And I mean, we don't know this was just an idea. We don't know the details. We don't know, we still have to look further into what it would cost, what the maintenance would look like, and what kind of, potential, whether we go with a donation program or not, what that will look like. But I guess what I'm trying to get here is ideas from the tree board to recommend if this is worth exploring further or not.
I guess an electric truck could flip over, even on city property. But I see what you're saying about liability. Yeah.
Property versus someone else's property is a lot different.
Yeah.
And if this is just floating an initial idea and they want the go ahead to look into this more, by all means, check on it and figure out. I think that the trick is understanding what the inputs would be to creating the right kind of tree and over how many years. And they can ask around and get a lot of information about that. I think that's fine.
And the cost of doing that, it's obviously going to be some maintenance time. And I think it's certainly worth taking a look at, but I think we need some more information before we could say, yes, this is a good idea, or no, it's not.
Victor, has Ben weighed in on this?
No, this idea literally came to Lucas, I think, Wednesday. So no.
Okay.
Ben has not looked into it. There are some questions we did have about, size of trees. If it were to be a donor program, for example, $500 for a donation obviously is going to give you a smaller tree. But if you donate for a bigger tree, then it's only more like 5 to 10 years out before we can use that tree. If it's a small tree that's donated, right, a small gift, you're talking about 20 years perhaps before the tree can be used. And so what Lucas said, that they need a minimum of a 35-foot tall tree to be in the street. So that's normally what we look for, is a tree that's at least 35 feet tall. So that gives us an idea of how tall we would be able to harvest the trees at for use. But no, Ben has not looked at it. And so then my goal was to eventually have Ben look at it, but I didn't want to spend money on Ben until we get some opinion feedback first from the tree board to see if it was worth exploring.
Again, I want to go back to Sue's comment on maintenance and growth. I'd hate to donate $500 for a tree and then, due to lack of maintenance or even disease coming in, having it not be there. I'm very worried about the maintenance of the trees we've put in, particularly these ones along Main Street just this week, making sure they're watered properly and all of that. So, I mean, it is a labor intensive effort. But again, if they want to go ahead and examine it some more, I think that would be a good idea. And I have no problems with that.
Any other thoughts?
I think we'd really need to look hard at what species, like I see blue spruce on there, and that would be a definite no, I think. But yeah, Ben could help with that, and we could do some more research for sure.
Okay. So I think I sort of hear a consensus that this is an idea that could use further exploration, that we're concerned about the maintenance species of this project.
Yeah, I think that's what I'll do then is I'll have staff look into it a little bit more to see a few of those issues, maintenance, what maintenance would look like, what the cost would look like, and what types of trees Ben would recommend for this. The reason we put blue spruce there is because we were looking at trees that have historically been used as trees for our Main Street. So
Victor, I think it would be real helpful too if they could actually put some numbers on it. Like if we buy probably $500 will get you a 6-foot tree, what kind of money do we have to put into it maintenance wise for it to get to be 35 feet?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, so you'll follow up on that then, Victor, with city staff?
Yes.
Very good. Any other items for discussion?
I have one more. I don't know if people saw, this would be Petoskey News Review, October 24th. I can scan this to everybody if you like, but I think we ought to, one of us or Victor, get in touch with Charlevoix and find out what they're doing right. They planted 90 trees this year. They planted 250 trees in 17 and 18, and yes, they're a bigger city.
It's largely budget. And I'm jumping in on that because I know the chair of their tree board there. It's my sister.
Oh, good.
So if you ever want to talk with her, Dana, if you wanted to go to Charlevoix and get a tour and talk with her, she would love it.
Yeah, if you could send me her, I'd be happy to look into it. Or if you want to, Sue, since you're an immediate.
Oh, I'll send her info and that'd be, they have struggled with the same issues we have, that people don't want the trees in the way of their view of Lake Michigan or Lake Charlevoix. Their budget comes out of the city. She approaches the city and says, how many trees can we plant this year? And that's how it gets done. It just is it's enough bigger that the budget really is there for it.
Yeah, I think there could also be some information about tracking tree locations using the city's GIS database. So I think there's on a number of levels that would be a good conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, send me her name and number.
Sure.
I am very envious of Petoskey and Charlevoix. The budget they have for putting trees in every year is it's nice to see. So
that's something we can discuss maybe next meeting, if we're looking at what we want to do next year, goals, maybe where do we get money from?
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
I should add to that we do have about 6 or 7 trees that we haven't planted that have been donated from the People Donate a Tree program. So we still have those to review as well. And so that's how we get our trees, our tree money is from donated tree program. Yeah, but we'll review that next meeting.
Victor, do you think there would be, council would be amenable to any discussion about giving us a budget of, let's say, $2 per capita, which is what we need to be an Arbor city? Get that designation.
When I read that criteria, Dana, I think even the maintenance that we do, in-kind services can be counted towards that $2 per person. So I would think that what we do with trees already, I'd have to look into greater detail of that, but I don't
You think
that
the city's already spending that on trees?
I don't know, but I know that I think that's part of their not requirement, but you can count that as like your 2% or $2 per person.
Yeah, if you can double check that, because the money we spend already on Ben Vealing as our arborist covers the $2 per capita per person. So
I will do that. I'll look into details, and I think I remember reading that. So,
do you think there'd be any interest in, and then maybe this is a John Leo question, in putting some money in every year for tree planting in the city out of the capital budget?
For Dana, for capital, so our capital budget does not look at costs that are less than $10,000. So unless you're asking the council to have $10,000 or more per year for tree plantings, then they can discuss putting that in part of the capital improvements plan. So like we have a sidewalks, $25,000 per year go to maintaining, repairing sidewalks. We could ask for that. However, I honestly think we need to wait for our tree plan to be done before we can go to council and say, hey, we need this kind of money for X, Y, and Z. Because right now we're just saying, all right, here, give us money to tree planting. Yet we don't even know where we're going to put the trees. We have no.
That's a good point. Yeah, we'd figure it out, but that is a good point. We should have a plan first.
That was going to, if I may, that was going to be exactly my proposal. Once the tree plan, which I think you all and Victor specifically have made great progress on, once that plan is ready and you can come to council with a specific request, I, for one, would certainly be very open to it. I think it's part of the go forward improvement in the city that we would like to see.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Okay.
second that, but I think that council is going to want a plan before they put money in every year.
And Nancy's on council too. I forgot. I'm sorry. Question for both of you.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
Okay. Any further comment, Dana?
No.
Okay. I just have one announcement to make that Relief Michigan, that project will be going on in the spring. I've had 2 brief conversations with Kate Tuttle, who will be our contact person. She's in Florida right now for a couple of months. She'll be making a site visit probably late March. Brianna will be looking to have some volunteer help, hopefully from the high school students on the plantings, and we can arrange all that later on. But I just thought I'd let you know that it's a go for this spring.
That's great. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, if there's no other items, do we have a motion for adjournment?
So move.
Second.
All right. We need a roll call on that, Victor?
No, because technically we don't need to have a vote for adjournment. The chair can just adjourn.
Okay, it's adjourned. Everybody have a great weekend.
Thanks and happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
You too.
Thanks, you too.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.